WABC.
And today, John, on Capitol Hill, a big hearing about AM radio. And joining us now is the chairman of the subcommittee that was holding that hearing on communications and technology, Congressman Bob Latta. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. Tell us about the hearing today. As you probably know, our great John Catsimatidis has been leading the fight on AM radio. So bravo, bravo.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. And this started a couple months ago when we started getting reports that automobile makers out there were saying that if you got EVs, they're going to start taking AM radios out of cars because of interference. And then we were finding out in some cases that the companies, even if it wasn't an EV, if it was a combustible engine, they still wouldn't be able to have an AM radio. And interesting enough, when I was in my district, I was talking with one of my auto dealers, and they didn't even know that they had been removed. And so it's something that I think the American people need to know about. And one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we get the information out there. And so we had what we called an educational hearing today. But prior to that, I had a letter that went out with Representative Greg Pence from Indiana, that we had over 100 signers on to multiple companies asking what was going on and why we weren't going to have AM in the car. But it's as important as you pointed out earlier that we do keep AM in our cars because, for one thing, when the Internet goes down, we have to have a way to communicate with people. And 75 stations in this country reach over 92% of the United States population. So besides just for entertainment and talk radio and listening to high school football games or basketball games on weekends, it's important that we have AM radio for just our emergency broadcast out there, because if we don't, we're going to be in a very dangerous situation out there that we won't be able to communicate with American people.
Congressman, is this a bipartisan? Is the Democrats on your side? Are you guys working together?
Well, this is one of those hearings that reminds me of the TikTok hearing we had not too long ago, that if you had your back to the witness and the person who was asking the questions, you wouldn't know if it was Republican or a Democrat.
By the way, that's refreshing because there's not that much out there that has bipartisan support these days, Congressman.
Well, there's a lot of support for AM radio not only across the country, but here in Congress.
Well, wonderful. Now, I know my son had dinner with Senator Cruz. Ford came back and says they're going to put AM radios and FM radios in all 2024 cars. And my son had dinner with Senator Cruz, and he says that General Motors is about to come back too. Have you heard anything?
Well, General Motors didn't say that they would take it out, and now Ford, we're very happy what Ford did, because they did change their position on this, that they would have AM radio back in 2024 cars, and also being able to download it into a 2023 or a car that might not have it. So it gives people that ability to have that back in their car. But again, the interesting thing is we have some companies out there that are producing EVs that seem not to have any problem with an AM radio in the car, and then others think there's been a problem.
We're going to go after them next. Right now, you see what happened to Anheuser-Busch. The value of the stock went down, $27 billion, and Target. The American people are angry. Enough is enough.
Well, and again, I think that a lot of people got caught flat-footed on this. I had a meeting in my district with some very small radio stations, and they produce programming that's a real benefit for our communities out there, especially in our rural areas. And but this is, when it brought it to our attention, it's just like, where'd this come from? But, I'm glad that we were able to start getting this information out. I'm glad we had the hearing today. And I'm glad we're hearing back from the auto companies as to what their plans might or might not be. But I think it's important, as you said, that when you think about the broadcasting for the American people out there, we have got to keep AM radio because, again, it's a signal that in times of an emergency or a natural disaster, that it's out there that Americans can turn to and get the latest information. And a lot of it's, as I said, this is a safety situation, too.
1,000%. Congressman, really great to have you here. Keep up that great fight for everybody, because it is an emergency, and it's a key. It's a big issue. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thank you, Congressman.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.